Yo, what up guys? Faker is back on the solo queue grind and we are blessed because this is his first game on Hwei. And I am going to review this game on Hwei because it is a very creative champion, and because it's his first game, I'm going to see if he's going to be able to come up with some tricks that I do not know just yet. So let's take a look at how we will approach this lane and how we will approach this game. So initially, we always start with Q as Hwei. And one thing that I don't see him do right here is we should always start with our Q activated. Because that means we only have to press the Q once instead of twice. And what he does is he doesn't do that, and therefore he has to press the Q twice. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's just a nice quality of life way to hit our abilities. So Hwei is actually a little bit of a lane bully right now in the early lane. His Q base damage is extremely high, and Faker is really abusing the AoE on the minions right here very, very well. Compare it a bit to a Jay's Q, but then a little bit wider. Another beautiful Q here from Faker, and he's really starting to poke this Orianna. And this is actually a matchup that in the books is extremely, extremely favored for Orianna. So I'm pretty impressed with the way Faker's going about the aggressiveness in this matchup. Of course, we take W second. W second allows us to regenerate some mana. We also get 3 attacks that then deal more damage. So what I really, really like that he does right here is he walks past the minions, goes for this Q onto the Orianna, and look at the damage that it deals. It's really insane with Scorch. Very high base damage. So really impressive stuff so far from Faker in the early lane. Very nice attempt on this Q. He tries to line it past these minions and try to hit her with the AoE right here. AoE is just barely not big enough. Yeah, so far really good stuff. I also really like taking the push with a champion like Hwei, because I think the push allows us to be able to walk past these minions and to look for these aggressive Qs. Really nice WQ. Wow. WQ, EW, which roots up the Orianna, because if we take a look at the situation right here. Orianna walks up to get that creep, we WQ, guaranteed stun, and we get our flash. That's really, really massive for us. So we're in a great position in this lane. Really, really, really good position. Very nice QW right here, timing it with auto attacks. If you time your QW with an auto attack or with the enemy standing still, that's basically when you're gonna guaranteed land it. A little bit of jungle tracking issues here. We have to burn our flash ourselves, but we're still in an okay position. Orianna's almost out of mana, and we got a little bit more resources. Lee Sin goes for a very crazy play, and they get the kill. So let's take a look at what happens here. What does the Lee Sin do? I guess it's a good play and Ori gets the kill. Okay, we trade kills, we get Lee Sin flash, it's quite alright. We TP back, we get Dark Seal boots. I'm a big fan of Dark Seal and boots on Hwei. The reason why why Dark Seal is so good is because we get a little bit of that extra base health. And Hwei is also kind of good at picking up kills, and because we're a bit of an artillery range, once we get rolling with our AP scalings, we're going to be pretty hard to kill because we're just so good at staying back. And if we take a look at the enemy team composition right here, the only real engage is the Lee Sin. So Hwei is actually kind of safe in this game. So I think Dark Seal is an amazing pickup, also because of the insanely high goal value. Orianna has no flash, so she's kind of vulnerable in the mid lane, especially with a champion like Jarvan. And that's something that I especially think about Hwei. Hwei is really good with setup. If he has certain team members that allow him to CC, the champion just shines and it becomes much, much better. Because once you start hitting your abilities, that's when you actually become useful. But what you see, the reason why Hwei is actually not having the highest win rate right now is because a lot of people just struggle hitting these abilities on Hwei. And you can really see it right here, even though we have the setup from the Jarvan right now. We're a little late with the EW, which means that Ori just walks out and she almost escapes. So we get the kill, get 2 stacks on the Dark Seal, we shove the wave, shove the next wave because it's a non-cannon. Very easy with the QE, a lot of wave clear, the WE as well, much more damage. and we just one-shot the backline with an EE as well. Clear the wave, reset, and we're going to be coming back with Sorks. So I'm a really big fan of Boots Rush on Hwei, because we have a lot of base damage actually in our kit. So if we go for a Boots Rush, first of all, we deal much more damage with the base damage that we have. And secondly, the move speed is actually really valuable on us, because the move speed allows us to, one, get in range for our E ability, or walking past the minions so we can actually land our Q. And two, the reason why move speed is really good is because we are a pretty vulnerable champion. We have no real self peel. The move speed allows us to also run away from certain ganks or positions where we do not want to be in. So the move speed is just a generally really good stat on Hwei in the early game. I don't think it's worth buying Cosmic Drive for it, because you don't really get the damage that you want a bit later in the game. But I think in the early game the Sorks is actually a perfect pickup. We get a nice little pink ward out. Beautiful Q, and as you can see, these QQs, right, they just deal a lot of damage, and the range is actually kind of big. The AoE is also pretty decent, so it's just very nice poke when the enemies misposition. And this is something you can do on Hwei. You can just walk up with your WE and just try to attack the enemies. One thing that I really like Faker do right here is he actually goes for the QE and then drags the enemies in with the EE. Very nice combo, which also procs the passive. Really good combo. So he holds the wave. Orianna needs to reset. He actually doesn't hold the wave. He plans to hard shove the next one. That's crazy. That's unbelievable. He cancels Orianna's reset right here with his QW. Blind. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. That's a game-winning play right there. Not a game, a lane-winning play. Because this allows him to... This allows him to get full prio, full pressure in the lane, which then can lead towards objectives. Towards, for example, the next... the Rift Herald, also with the winning top. We should basically guarantee it with this play. So, really good play by Faker. And also as well, he goes for the EE. And he tries to run the R after to try to kill the Orianna. I think he misplayed a little bit. We're gonna review this right here. So I think the way he goes about this is I think he EE into Rs. So I think he EE into R because Orianna's now stuck in this position. And she's slowed as well. So now she's easy to hit. So the way we want to approach this is we want to start our combos off with the E. And then follow up with the R. Because the R is actually kind of hard to land because it's not the fastest projectile. So in this case, I like the fact he starts with EE, but I think we should do EE into R to guarantee the R. And then with the slows, we can then follow up with the Q. In the meantime, of course, we want to activate our WE to get more damage off. But Rumble comes around, picks up the kill, and Orianna's kind of screwed right now in the isolated lane right here. Get a beautiful reset, get Lost Chapter. We have 3 stacks on the Dark Seal. It would be really nice to play Herald right here. We got winning top, winning mid, and Jarvan is topside right now. So I would definitely want to see a Herald contest. I really like what he's doing right here. I think we should play for wave prio so we can actually try to get some control on topside. Orianna really struggles against our insane wave clear at this point in the game. And because of this insane wave clear, we have the first move right now. And this puts a lot of pressure onto the Lee Sin right here. Lee Sin uses flash. We do lose Jarvan ult because of it. Wow. Kind of good play by Faker here. He goes for the EQ flash. So, how do we do an EQ flash like this? What I want you guys to understand is what he does. He activates the E before he flashes. So he knows he already wants to start with E. So he activates the E already. As you can see, E is activated. Then what he does is then he does Q flashes. So he buffers the Q during the flash. So this is a very good way to Q flash. E, Q flash. Don't flash EQ because we cannot buffer that. It takes too long. It's too hard. We have to already activate the E before that. Very good play by Faker. Which guarantees the Herald. And we're in a pretty commanding position. What I would just do right now from this point in the game, as Hwei, I would just try to play for wave push. And try to get control on one side of the map where we want to be playing towards. Which is what he's doing. Very simple. QE into WE. And we just clear the wave with it. It's very uninteractive at this point in the game. Hwei's wave clear is really, really nutty. So we reset for a blasting one. This guy goes for the Ludens build. I personally think Liandry is slightly better than Ludens. I don't think Ludens is bad at all. I just think Liandry is slightly better. Especially with a rumble top. But it is what it is. I'm a big fan of Liandry's into Horizon Focus. I think it's a very nice combination. Gives us a lot of stats that we like. We like a little bit of CDR. We like the overtime damage. And we like the health that it gives. And because of our abilities being so long range, it's also really, really good on Hwei. And just look at the damage that Hwei does right now. First of all, let's take a look at this ability usage he does right here. So we get ganked by the Jarvan. Jarvan ults to Orianna. We WE into Q of EW into QW. Man, it's tricky to say. Pick up the kill, and then we get ganked. We still have the W left. Very high cooldown, so we shield ourselves to make it harder for Lee Sin to kill us. We then get the beautiful Hwei R into the Ashe R, and we get the kill onto the Lee Sin. Sadly, we missed the QQ onto the Senna, otherwise I'm pretty sure we would have one-shot her right here with the amount of AP that we have. But we still grab up the kill. We now got 10 stacks and the Ludens completed. So game is in an interesting state. We're really, really far ahead. Game is looking extremely good. So from this point, right, what would I do if I'm Hwei? Play a little bit like a combination of a control mage / artillery mage. That's the way I would like you to think as a mindset. So the way we want to be approaching is we want to be trying to play for objectives. It sucks that Lee Sin just grabbed the Herald. Keep mid control, start poking, and play for these objectives. That's what I would recommend. With our insane move speed, we're also kind of good at helping side lanes right now. Not necessarily the move speed, I mean the wave clear, because we clear the waves in like one ability. And we can then move to the side, and with our QW, we can just deal a lot of damage, pick up kills onto enemies that are low. And we also have the move speed to move between the river. Only thing that we got to be careful about is getting jumped on by the enemies. In this case, Lee isn't the most threatening, but in a lot of other cases, enemy jungle is going to be a little bit stronger, and it's going to be harder for us to do this. So I think one thing that Faker is not utilizing well enough is actually his QE into EE. I think this is a really good combination that you can use in lane to surprise the enemies, drag them into the lava pit that you throw. And I think he's just barely not utilizing that enough. So you get ganked by Senna right here. We get tagged in the Ori R. Let's take a look. He has E up here. You guys don't see it. Let me swap this up a little bit. Okay, so it's easier for you guys to review this. So in this situation, right, what we see is we're getting ganked by the Senna, and Orianna just ulted us. What do we see? We have E up. E is up right here. So what I want to do is, it's really important that we land our ult. Like one major key takeaway that I would say from this situation, but in general when playing Hwei, is landing our ult is really crucial to us being able to deal damage towards the enemies, because our ult is a really strong ability with insanely high base damages. So it's super important that we land our ult instead of miss it. And what we see Faker do a lot is that he's missing a lot of his ults. So the way we want to be going about this is that we actually want to combine our ult usually after a setup, and we can set it up mainly by our own E. So I would have much rather seen Faker start with E in this combo, then follow up with R, then Q, and in the meantime we WE as well. A lot of buttons pressed, but that's the order we want to do it. We want to start with E, so it's much easier to land our R, and then we flash out. That would be the correct way to approaching this. But of course, we're going to give him some slack. He might be the GOAT of League, but it is still his first Hwei game. And we get shut down. Quite unfortunate. Really big shutdown. It goes to the Ori. That's never good. And it seems that he's opting in for Void Staff. He's opting in for the void stuff right here, which makes sense since we have a rumble top. Enemies are probably going to be itemizing a lot of magic resist. So we go for a play on top here, which is a little dangerous because our jungler is dead, but it's like okay. Fortunate thing is we miss our R. So like how do we go about this? Because missing our R is just going to be a dead sentence once again. We're going to die here. So could we have started with our E? Probably yes. And maybe she would have flashed our E. Then I think in this case you can... This is a tricky one. What do? We get Ori ulted. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of starting with R. I think it's just so inconsistent. I think what we can do is we can either EE right here because we're in range, or we EW right here and we zone her off. But I don't think there's necessarily one that's gonna work guaranteed. It's a tricky one for sure. But in general, fighting this isn't really optimal because our jungler is dead. We're getting ganked, and we're giving Orianna a lot of shutdowns like this. So Orianna is gonna be coming extremely strong. We've lost all of our Dark Shield stacks. And right now, our champion is significantly worse because we're a champion that is very mobile, very squishy. So if we're feeding the enemies or one of the enemies is really fat, it's really hard for us to play because we have to be much more careful with our positioning. Right here, he does start with the E, he does grab the kill. That's what I much rather see. I grab another kill with the QW. We don't grab the kill. We do get it here. So we almost have R, so we gotta be a little bit careful here and wait until we have R. Try to start with the E ability. We're regenerating some health with the double buffs. Let's take a look at what happens here. So Rumble stays in the bush there, and the enemies actually spot him out. Kai'Sa ults in. We ult the Lee Sin. Deal a lot of damage to the Lee Sin, but not enough. And we die again. Yeah, so we're basically chain dying right here. This is something that happens sometimes to Hwei. Right, because of how our champion interacts. We do have the void stuff right now. So maybe we're going to be able to one-shot some enemies. That's really if you play for this type of setup, if you play for this type of build on Hwei, we're usually aiming to just one-shot someone, delete them from the fight, get our cooldowns back, and then we try to do it again. So in this case, it's once again really important that we try to land our R. I like the fact that he goes mid right now. Our champ is really good at going mid. We missed the Ashe R, sadly. And we're going to get a little bit pressure right here. We've made a few big mistakes. We limit tested a little bit too much. And that's putting us under a lot of pressure. We're not the strongest side laner at this point, because we do not beat Orianna in the 1v1 at the moment. So that makes it hard to get tempo, shove out waves. And we're probably in a position where we're going to lose the game shortly, because the enemy's on soul point. And it's really hard to get control in the side lane right here. Yeah, as expected, we try to match the Ori. She one-shots us, and we die. And that probably puts the game in a really bad position. Lee Sin starts Nash, Ori TP's in. Kill the Rumble. Kalista is dead, which is good, but soul points coming up. Ocean Soul is not nice to have as the enemy team when you're playing Hwei. You do not want to be playing against an Ocean Soul. It does seem we lose the soul right here. And that would be end of review in my opinion. Little bit unfortunate, right? I think we had a great early game where we had a few very good Qs in the lane. I also think his posturing in the lane really was good for how strong Hwei is in the early lane right now with his QQ. But I think the main mistakes that or like the main improvement points that he can use is like doing the QE into EE combo in lane a bit more. I like that combo a lot in lane. You can catch a lot of people off guard with it. It works with wave clear, and you can basically pull people into your E, which is a very good tool to proc the passive, and slow them, just harass them in lane. So I think that's one thing. I also think that we should put more emphasis on starting with E in these skirmishes and fights to make sure that we land our R, because landing the R is crucial. It's all about landing the R, because that's the big damaging ability. And we see because we're making some of these mistakes, and because we start dying, our champion becomes really vulnerable suddenly to enemies. And once we started dying, we started chain dying, and we just lost the game. So valuing life is really important. Putting ourselves in a position where we cannot die is really, really important on this champion. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll be back soon with another video.